Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Mayorkas, thank you for being here. Congratulations on your nomination. Let me come back to a question that Senator Scott asked a moment ago regarding the border wall system. And I just wanted to follow up on your answer to make sure that I was clear. As you know, Congress has recently appropriated and enacted into law $1.4 billion in additional funding for the border wall system. My question is, I just wanted to be clear on this. Do you intend, if you are confirmed, to obligate and distribute those funds as they have been allotted and designated by Congress?
Senator Hawley, I know that as I previously expressed, President-elect Biden is committed to cease funding for further construction of the border wall. I would execute President-elect Biden's commitment in adherence to the laws that guide us.
Does that mean, Mr. Mayorkas, that you intend not to obligate and spend the funds as directed by Congress? I mean, I'm aware of the President-elect's commitment, and I think it stands in some tension with the law passed, adopted, and duly enacted by this body. So I just want to be clear on where we're headed. Are you telling me that you don't think that the $1.4 billion that has been enacted, that has been directed towards the border wall system, that you will not follow the law and obligate that? I just am trying to understand what your position is going to be.
Well, Senator, let me, if I may, strike at the fundamental point that I believe you are inquiring of, which is, will I follow the law on the execution of my responsibilities should I have the privilege of serving as the Secretary of Homeland Security? And the answer is yes, I will follow the law. And what I would need to do is to understand what the law provides with respect to the obligation of funds to construct the border wall, and see what the opportunities are to discontinue any such obligation if in fact the law permits, and act accordingly.
Very good. That does answer my question, and you got right to the nub of it, which was what you'll do with regard to the law as it currently stands. So I look forward to seeing the actions that you take there. Let me come back to the subject of immigration policy a little bit more broadly. And speaking of the President-elect's plans, he has said that he intends to propose, as early as his first day in office, so tomorrow, a plan for amnesty to up to 11 million illegal immigrants. Now, I have to tell you, I have concerns about that, especially in this time of severe economic distress that has fallen disproportionately on working class Americans. Give me a sense of do you support a mass amnesty? 11 million is a very, very large number. Do you support mass amnesty on that scale? Give me a sense of your thinking on this.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to that important issue, Senator Hawley. President-elect Biden has committed to presenting Congress on day one with an immigration reform bill that once and for all fixes, I think, what we all can agree is a broken immigration system. And he has spoken of the need for a path to citizenship for the individuals who have been in this country for many years, who have contributed to our communities and to this nation's economic prosperity. I would be privileged to work with Congress to pass immigration reform legislation that provides that path and provides a permanent solution to what is clearly a broken system.
Are you worried at all, Mr. Mayorkas, that an amnesty on that scale, such as envisioned by the President-elect, will become itself a pull factor? Senator Scott mentioned the recent migrant caravan from Honduras headed towards the United States that appears to have been disrupted in Guatemala. But are you concerned? I'm concerned about the pull factor here, as well as the policy, again, implications, particularly as it relates to working Americans. But are you concerned about a pull factor and an amnesty of that scale?
Senator Hawley, I remember the bipartisan piece of legislation that the United States Senate proposed a number of years ago with the path to citizenship for individuals who had contributed to our nation's well-being for many years, and the fact that it spoke of certain requirements to ensure that individuals who had been here and contributed to the United States could gain that path, and those who had not yet arrived would not. But with respect to the pull and push factor, separately, if I may, Senator Hawley, let me speak to the push factor because I don't think its severity can be overstated. And I say this because President-elect Biden has articulated an ambitious and visionary plan for addressing the root causes of irregular migration. When loving parents are willing to send their young child alone to traverse Mexico to reach the dangerous southern border between the United States and Mexico because of the acute violence and severe poverty and the fear of persecution, I think we need to address the push factor as the gravest challenge to irregular migration. And therefore, the investment in countries where so many people are fleeing, the investments in building a refugee program in the Western Hemisphere and in the region, so that humanitarian relief is provided and our border is not the first place at which those needs are confronted, I think is a vital and underlying solution to the problem we confront.
Thank you for that. Let me ask you two more questions. Mr. Chairman, I'll try to be brief. I want to ask you about the migrant protection protocols, and then I want to ask you about human trafficking. But just quickly, Mr. Mayorkas, on the migrant protection protocols, this is, as you know, the Trump administration's policy of processing migrants in Mexico, helping to restore a safe and orderly immigration process while deterring those dangerous crossings that you were just talking about. Do you anticipate continuing to implement the migration protection protocols, or will you end them?
Senator Hawley, I think you were cut off midstream in your final question, but I think I understand your question, which is, would I continue with the Migration Protection Protocols, or MPP, as the acronym is known? President-elect Biden has spoken of his commitment to end the Migration Protection Protocols, and I would execute on that commitment should I have the privilege of serving as the Secretary.
Okay, last question, Mr. Chairman. Human trafficking, Mr. Mayorkas. Last October, the department launched a new integrated operations system, a center rather for countering human trafficking led by ICE. They've had considerable success, but there is a tremendous amount of work left to do. As Secretary, if confirmed, would you continue to prioritize combating human trafficking and supporting ICE and the department as a whole in its battle against this modern day form of slavery?
I would, Senator. I would look forward to working with you in that regard, and I can share with you that for 12 years as a federal prosecutor, I focused considerable energy and effort on combating human trafficking and prosecuting the perpetrators of it.
Thank you, Mr. Mayorkas. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hawley. We'll now